To live for the future is really just an indefinite postponement of life. You move through your education following this series of steps: first grade, second grade, third grade. The Latin word gradus actually means step. Step by step, you keep climbing. Grade after grade until eventually you become a graduate, but even then you're still doing it. You're still climbing. So when you finally make it, maybe you're now the president of a corporation. You get this strange, empty feeling like you've been cheated. Oof! Climbed the whole stairway, reached the top, and there's nowhere else to go. And because you were never taught how to live in the present moment, you don't know how. So now an insurance salesman shows up and says, "Hey, I've got the perfect thing for you, a retirement plan. When you're 65, you'll finally drop out of the system. It's when you'll really be able to enjoy yourself." But that's assuming you'll enjoy it while dealing with prostate trouble, menopause, false teeth, and everything else that comes with age. The art of living in the present, the eternal now, isn't something our education system teaches. Why? Because it's seen as irresponsible. But it's not irresponsible at all. In fact, it's everyone's duty, if I can put it that way, to enjoy themselves. Because if you don't, you become a burden. You become aggressive. You become a thief. You become the kind of person who tries to reorganize the world to fill the void, what we call a power maniac. And it's all because you never learned the simple, inexpensive, beautiful art of living in the present moment. And the truth is, it doesn't take much to sustain a human life. If you honestly think about what you really need to eat, to wear, to stay sheltered, it's not that complicated. It's simple. And the simpler your needs are, the more you develop the capacity to enjoy the small things, like watching a raindrop crawl slowly down a window. But if you sit there watching that raindrop, someone is bound to say, "What are you doing? That's crazy. You're watching a raindrop? Can't you find something more important to do?" And what they really mean is, can't you find some way to cause more trouble than that? The mindset that can't understand the importance of watching a raindrop. That mindset is the one creating the trouble in the world. People will tell you, you're of no value unless you're changing something, interfering, making progress. We confuse growth with progress. If you're not starting some brand new project or taking part in some massive operation, people say you're lazy, useless, because you're not working for the future. But those who constantly work for the future might actually be quite mad. Take the example of the Chinese man who works just long enough to earn some money. Then he stops, goes to the gambling house, smokes opium, wanders around, just enjoys the scene, and we say, "That's awful. That's irresponsible. He's not contributing," but maybe, just maybe, that is what maintaining the world properly looks like. Maybe we, with our obsession that everything should always be improving, progressing, are the ones who are actually destroying it. We've got this Protestant ethic, this drive to keep everything in control, and yes, it gives us some early wins. We defeat diseases, we keep people alive, but at the end of that road, it's the hydrogen bomb, a weapon that could erase it all. So these non-political people, the ones we call primitive or backward, they're saying to us, the trouble with you is you don't know what you want. You're always working towards some imagined future. You're all rhetoric and no fulfillment. You promise yourself that something good is going to happen someday. Keep promising, promising, promising. Even your money is a promise. Look at your dollar bill. It says the Treasury promises to pay you $1. But what is that really? If you go and demand to receive whatever that promise is supposed to represent, what do they give you? Credit, because money is just paper. It's just a symbol. It's bookkeeping. Nothing more. That's why so many indigenous peoples like the Aymar Indians, or Mexican tribes, or Africans, don't really want to communicate with us, because they don't want what we've convinced ourselves is the good life. Sure, some do. Take Japan. Many Japanese have been completely sold on the Western lifestyle, and now they've become frantic industrialists. And as a result, the cities Nara, Osaka, Kobe are smothered in smog. Tokyo has become a madhouse. They're getting what we sold them, but here's the thing. The future is an illusion. In Hindu cosmology, time is understood in cycles. You go through different ages, yugas, and it starts off beautifully, but gradually, everything decays. It's a way of saying, over time, things fall apart. So if you want peace, get out of time. Get off the wheel of samsara. Escape the rat race. That's the idea behind what I call the politics of diversion. We need to divert Western man from this historical obsession that he's part of some grand story leading to something always better. because in reality it's leading to more destruction. Divert people from time by inviting them to live a style of life that's timeless. A way of life more appealing than one that's chained to the future. Now, that doesn't mean we abandon technology. In fact, one of the greatest things about technology is that it gives us the power to eliminate poverty entirely. But here's the catch. You can't look at it in historical terms. If you do, it'll never work. Because the real issue, the problem of money and wealth distribution, isn't material. It's psychological. People are hypnotized by money, by the symbol of wealth, and they treat it like it's valuable in and of itself. It's the old confusion, mistaking money for gold. When Ramakrishna said one of the great evils in the world is gold, he may have been more right than he even realized. There's an old story. Once upon a time, the banks of the world got tired of constantly shipping gold across countries, so they decided to centralize everything. They put all the gold on an island in the Pacific. Every bank had a headquarters there. Now, when they needed to move gold around, they just trundled it across the street. Everything ran perfectly for a while. Then one year, all the bank executives brought their families to visit the island for a big convention. They reviewed the books. Everything was flawless. Then the kids said, "Daddy, can we see the gold?" And the president said, "Of course, take them to the vault." But the managers got uncomfortable. They hesitated. He said, "Well, actually it's kind of difficult to access." The bank presidents pushed harder. "Why not? Let them see it." Finally, the managers admitted, 7 years ago, there was a massive subterranean earthquake and the gold was swallowed up. But we knew how much we had, so we've kept the books accurate ever since. It's a joke. People don't realize that money is just bookkeeping, that's it. This leads to all sorts of outdated nonsense like taxation. It's obsolete. What's actually stopping the flow of real wealth in the world is this obsession with money. Instead of taxing, we should issue credit. Yes, you still have to keep credit balanced against the gross national product, but that allows circulation flow. Otherwise, you end up in absurd situations. People starving in India while food is hoarded, burned, or dumped into the ocean elsewhere. Insanity, and all of it caused by a psychological block around money. In Indian philosophy, they'd call it my illusion, just like the illusion of the future. It's belief that the future is where we'll finally start living. But when you live that way, you'll never be ready when you finally arrive. Because even then, you'll want another future in front of you. Become a perpetual donkey, chasing a carrot dangling from a stick that's tied to your own neck. Always just out of reach.